The snowstorm on Zyra 7 was unforgiving. Captain Ray Kessler sat inside his tattered survival tent, the harsh winds outside battering the fabric like an unrelenting monster. His ship, the Falcon's Grace, lay in pieces several kilometers away, reduced to scrap by the planet's unpredictable atmosphere. He was alone, or so he thought, with only the dim heater to keep him alive in the minus 200 degrees Celsius tundra. Ray wasn't supposed to be here. His mission was simple: scout, collect data, and leave. But the storm had caught him off guard, stranding him on this frozen hellscape. Survival, he reminded himself, was the only priority. That's when the flap of his tent burst open. A figure stumbled inside, collapsing onto the floor. Ray grabbed his plasma pistol instinctively, pointing it at the intruder. But the sight that met him made him hesitate. It was a woman, or at least something that looked like one. Her skin shimmered with a metallic hue, silver with faint violet undertones. Her hair was like flowing mercury, and her eyes glowed faintly, a soft, luminescent blue. She looked frail, shivering violently, her lips moving as though trying to speak. "I need warmth," she managed, her voice a melodic whisper. Her words were halting, but somehow familiar, like she'd learned them from studying humans. Ray didn't lower the gun. What are you?" "I am Lethara," she answered, her breath visible in the freezing air. "Please, I will not harm you. Just let me stay." He considered his options. Letting an unknown alien into his already precarious shelter seemed like a terrible idea. But she looked on the verge of death, and the storm outside was lethal. "Stay over there," he said gruffly, pointing to the opposite corner of the tent. "No funny business." Lethara nodded weakly, dragging herself to the corner, curling up near the heater. Her body trembled violently, the chill almost palpable. The heat between them. For a few minutes, the only sound was the howling wind outside. Ray kept a wary eye on her, but his curiosity grew as the temperature inside the tent began to rise. Not just a little, but significantly. Sweat beaded on his forehead, and he unzipped his jacket, confused. "Why is it so hot?" he asked, glaring at her. "What are you doing?" "I am exothermic," Lethera said softly. "My body expels heat when threatened by cold. But it is not enough. I must bond, or I will die." Ray's eyebrows shot up. "Bond?" He leaned back. "I think I'm good. No bonding, thanks." She shook her head weakly, struggling to explain. "Not mating. It is sharing warmth. Physical contact allows heat to flow. Without it, my core will collapse." He blinked, processing the information. "So, you're saying if we don't sit close, you'll freeze to death?" She nodded, her shimmering skin pale. Ray sighed. Of all the things he expected to die doing, becoming a space heater wasn't one of them. "All right," he said, crawling toward her. "But if this is some kind of trick—" "No trick," she whispered. "Just survival." He sat next to her, reluctantly extending a hand. Her skin was ice-cold to the touch at first, but almost immediately, an intense warmth spread from her to him. It was like standing too close to a roaring fire. Uncomfortably hot, but not unbearable. A strange connection. Minutes passed, and the storm outside raged on, but inside the tent, a fragile peace formed. The heat radiating from Lethera stabilized, and she stopped trembling. Ray felt his own body relax, though he remained vigilant. "So, Lethera," he said, breaking the silence, "what are you doing on this frozen rock?" "I am an explorer," she replied, her voice stronger now. "My people, the Virexians, study the stars. I was searching for life here." "Well, congratulations," Ray said dryly. "You found it. Too bad it's just me." She tilted her head, regarding him curiously. "You are more than enough." He snorted. "You must be desperate." They sat in silence again, the tension easing as the warmth between them grew comfortable. Ray found himself studying her, fascinated by the way her skin shimmered, her eyes glowing like twin moons. "Why help me?" she asked suddenly. He shrugged. "You were freezing to death. Didn't seem right to let you die. In your place, many would not care." "I'm not many." She smiled, an expression that seemed almost human. "No, you are not." The storm breaks. Hours passed, and the storm outside began to relent. The howling winds softened to a whisper, and the temperature inside the tent became bearable without Lethara's heat. "I think we made it," Ray said, stretching. "Storm's letting up?" Lethara nodded, her glow dimming slightly. "You saved me," she said. "Well, you kept me from freezing, so I'd say we're even." She stood slowly, her movements graceful now. "Your kindness will not be forgotten, Ray Kessler." "How do you know my name?" She smiled again, mysterious and knowing. "I heard it when you dreamed." Ray shook his head, baffled. "Weird." As she stepped toward the tent's entrance, the flap parted, revealing the snow-covered wasteland beyond. She turned back once more. "Perhaps one day we will meet again." "Maybe," Ray said, watching her vanish into the icy landscape. And just like that, she was gone, leaving only warmth and a mystery in her wake.